Today I'm going to look at how to create, I'm going to call it maybe a matrix or like a data grid. So we're going to have an x-axis for data and a y-axis, and we're going to look at where those converge and have some sort of joint data point. So specifically, we are looking at a reservation system. So we're looking at having a series of tables and the times that are available and booking times for a given table on a given date. So let's start off looking at the databases. I do want to throw in the caveat. I've done some things to prep this just for the sake of time to move things along. So I am looking at my data types. I've got a reservable time. That's available time. That's the only thing I've added to that. That's text. Um, there are probably some better ways to track this. So you could have hours broken out as maybe an integer and minutes broken out as an integer as well. Again, for the sake of time, we'll keep this text. So we've got tables with just table names. So just some kind of reference to the tables, a human-friendly reference to the tables, I should say. We've got table booking, which is the convergence of those. We've got our table and our time, which is, you could see that's reservable time. The table is table type. We've got a date, which is text. If you're coming from like the MySQL world or the PostgreSQL world, that's a little bit weird. Usually you'll have a date time type, and you will do the formatting on the front end. I've actually found in this exercise it was easier just to store this as text. I was able to, my queries were much more accurate. And I've got a customer name, and that is it for the stuff that I've got in the database here. In terms of plugins, I have installed one plugin. I've installed Full Calendar provided by Bubble. So you will see that in action as well. So let's jump into design. I've also just created a little header. So I've got the dashboard and the home pages here, and you could see, whoops, that's not what I wanted to show you. You could see I've just created those, the home being index and dashboard being dashboard. So the first thing we want to do is filter by date. So we want to see as people book their tables, we want to be able to see those by the date. So I'm going to create a calendar, and I'm going to say calendar reservations, which I think I spelled correctly. I'm going to give this table booking and a data source. I'm going to go ahead and set the data source. This will not, one caveat here is because we have stored this as text, this date, it's not going to show up in the calendar. But if we did store this as a date type, then it would. So start time field. See, we don't even have any start or end time fields. So we will just say creation date, and that's great. Event caption can be current events, customer name. Why not? And I'm going to change the available view to monthly only. We don't want to drill down on this right now. So that should be fine. So we've got a calendar, and the user should be able to select the date, and all should be good. So one thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and preview this, and I'm going to add the seed data for this. So right now, the table names and the available times are dynamic. So you see reservation times and tables. I've created little, so you could see first of all, our calendar here that's working as expected. Reservation times and tables are dynamic. So reservation times, we'll say this is a lunch place. So it'll be 11 o'clock, 11:30, 12 o'clock, 12:30, 1 o'clock, 1:30, oops, 2 o'clock, 2:30, and we're going to stop serving lunch then. Okay, so we've got our times populated. Our tables are going to be very creative. Table number 1, table number 2, table number 3. I apologize if you're hearing some background noise that sounds remarkably like a dog wandering around. Um, I'm doing this video in response to a forum post. I saw somebody needed some help, and I wanted to give them a hand. And so rather than being up in my office, I'm actually down in the dining room, close to bedtime. Okay, so we've got our tables and our reservation times. And the reason it matters that I'm in the dining room is I'm feeding the dog too. So that's why you're hearing the background noise. All right. So we should have, okay, we've got our dates and times populated. Um, so let's go ahead and create um, a group here. And this is going to do a couple of things, one of which is to test our dates and our times. So this will be group reservations. And I'm going to add a repeating group here. And I'm not going to have this flush to the top, and you will see why in a moment. And I'm going to call this times. And we will say this is type of content. I want this to be reservable times. There we go. We're going to grab all our reservable times and we're going to sort those by the time. And those will be descending no, which means they're ascending. And I'm going to say this is like 10. Yeah, that looks good. Maybe even 15. I'm going to change this from vertical scrolling to full list. And I'm going to change this separator to, we can keep it. We could keep it dashed, but I'm going to bump it up a little bit. And from here, I'm going to add another repeating group. And this one I'm going to run from the very top. And I'm going to align this here. Yep, I want to align that there. I think I made this 15 rows, so I'm going to do the same thing. And I'm going to make actually, no, I'm not. I'm going to make this one row, and I'm going to make it like, I don't know, 6 columns or something like that. And I'm also going to say this is full list, and we're going to call this repeating group tables. And this is going to be a table data type, and the data source is going to be all the tables. So type table, sort by name, and I want that alphabetical, so descending no. And I'm going to go ahead and add text here, and dynamic data, current sales tables name. So this is going to give us an indicator that that all is well with our data. And here I'm going to give it text again. And I'm going to center vertically and dynamic data, current cells, available time. Okay, so now if we preview this, we should see our times running vertically here and our tables running horizontally here. Yep, good. So we're going to jump back over here. So what we want to do is we want to get the intersection of tables and times, and we want to give some sort of indicator when there is an intersection. So you could see over here, we've got 11, 11:30, 12. If table 1 is booked at 12:30, I want to have some sort of indicator here. If table 2 is booked at 2:30, I want some sort of indicator here. That's what we're aiming for here. So I'm going to come back over here, and The first thing I'm going to do actually, I think, is to jump over to my index. And on the index, I'm going to create a group. And I'm going to choose set up a date picker first. And call that date picker reservation. After the date is chosen, they will have a drop down. And in this drop down, we'll call this drop down times. Placeholder I don't care about. I do want this to be dynamic choices, and I want it to be reservable time, and I want all those times. So I'm going to do a search for reservable time, and I'm going to sort this by available time, and I do not want it to be descending. And I will make my caption current options available time. After this, I want another drop down, and this drop down is going to contain the tables. So I'm going to change this again from static to dynamic. My choices are going to be tables, and I'm going to just grab all those tables, do a search for tables, sort by name. No, I do not want this to be descending. And I'm going to change something up here. I'm going to move my date picker over here. And up here, I'm going to add an input. And this is going to be input customer name. Your name. I know I should actually use a label rather than just a placeholder text, but time is of the essence here, so I'm not going to worry about that right now. Okay, so we've got the name, we've got the time, we've got the table, and then we'll have the date. So we'll just save this. You would want to set something up so that this would filter out, so that there'd be some sort of filtering that happens so that customers aren't being shown dates and tables and all that good stuff that's already booked. But reserve table. But for our purposes today, fast is better than filtered. So, okay. And I'm just going to shrink this down a little bit and just pretty this up a little. I just said that fast is better than perfect, and then I'm wasting time moving this stuff around. But what can I say? I'm unpredictable that way sometimes. All right, so we've got this centered. We've got our form, reserve table. I'm going to start a workflow. I like to color code, so saving is green. And I'm going to create a new thing. And that thing I'm going to create is a table booking. My date is going to be that I'm going to insert dynamic data, and I'm going to choose the date picker reservations value, and then more formatted. Yep, that's how I want it formatted. Great, set another. The table is going to be drop down tables value. The time is going to be drop down times value. And the customer name is going to be inputs customer names value. Usually, you would set some sort of condition and some sort of validation here to make sure you're not getting rogue data or partial data or any of that good stuff, but we're not going to do that today. I am going to reset inputs. So now I should be able to book a reservation. So let's try that. I'm going to go to preview and refresh, or search Google, apparently. I'm going to go to home. My name is John LaPlante. I want to have an early lunch at 11:30. Up. I didn't get something right here. Let's find out what. Option caption, current options, name. I was trying to remember if it was time or tables, and it was tables. Okay, so now if I come back here, John LaPlante, went that early lunch at 11:30. I want to sit at table 3, right in the middle there, and let's make this a Friday lunch. So I'm going to save this. This is reset that tells me that my workflow has executed. If I come over to data, I go to the app data tab and I look at my bookings. I should see, yep, customer name, date, table and time look funny. So I'm going to come up to primary fields. I'm going to set my table. The data I want to see on the table is the name. The field that I want to see on the booking, I will leave, and the time that I want to see is available time. So when I come back here, that's a lot prettier. That's human readable now. Good, so I'm happy. I'm going to come back to my dashboard page, and in my column here, I'm going to add a group, and I'm going to run this group pretty much the whole length, and we'll kind of finagle around a little bit on this one. So first of all, I'm going to call this group reservation times maybe. Type of content is going to be a table, and the data source is going to be the current sales table. And I'm going to play around with this width a little bit, and I'm going to make this 100 or 910, either way. There we go. That looks like that's going to be about right. And I'm going to center this horizontally again, and maybe try 110. Center horizontally. And I'm going to shift and down arrow to align that at the very bottom. Okay. So now, just to be sure that that we're getting it, I'm going to change the background color a little bit. Yeah, great. So we've got this everywhere. All right. So just a little bit of yellow, so I can see that this is repeated, and that's weird that it kept the background color. Oh, because I changed this one. Oh well, it doesn't matter. So now I'm going to add a repeating group inside of this. And I'm going to do a couple things here. I see that this is a little bit longer. We've almost got this right. And I'm going to grab my, there we go. So I grabbed my group, grabbed my repeating group, and I'm going to make this almost as wide as it can be. And I'm going to center this horizontally. And I'm going to make this, I think it was 15 there. And kind of try to line this up. Yeah, that looks pretty good. And I'm going to try to align there. Okay, so I've got my repeating group E, and I'm going to rename this repeating group reservations. Type of content is going to be the time, actually, and the data source is going to be all times. So reservation time, and whoops, I'm not going to add any kind of constraint, but I am going to sort that by the available time. Descending no. Okay, so what I've got right now is I've got this is not scoped at all right now, so this is just all the times, but I do have it inside of this group that is scoped by the table, which is being pulled from this repeating group and the particular cell. Weirdly, I was not able to get that directly from, the reason we've got this group, this yellow group, is I was not able to get the any of the table information directly from the cell. It seems like having this repeating group, just it was completely, this cell was completely insulated from the cells, but it is able to access the data on the group that I've now got it wrapped in. So I don't know, maybe I've got something funky that I'm doing, but it didn't work for me. So in this, I'm going to add a shape. So I'm just going to add this little rectangle guy, and we'll center him horizontally and vertically, and we'll call him shape reservation indicator. And I'm going to pause there for a minute because I need to add one thing here. I'm going to add some text, and I'm going to say this text is calendar. There's a calendar reservations, current day, more, formatted as da da da. Because that's what I'm going to scope this to as well. So if I come over to the dashboard now, let's refresh here. And come over to the dashboard. This is nothing right now, but whenever I choose something here, you can see that it's changing the day here. So that's working as expected. I'm going to do just one small change, and I'm going to gussy that up a little bit. Now we're talking. Now that's a date. Okay, coming back to the shape, I'm going to give this a condition, and in my condition, I'm going to search for reservation table bookings. That's what I want, table bookings. And I'm going to set a first constraint, and I'm going to say if the date, which is text right now, equals there we go, calendar reservations, current day. So we've got one data point. If table equals group reservation times, so that's this parent group, the table, and if the time equals current cell's reservation time, and I'm not going to do any sorting here. Said current day. Did I set the format here? I don't remember. And then I'm going to grab just last item, and whoops, I've got something weird here. All right, so I'm searching for the date, I'm searching for the table, I'm searching for the time. Let's say sort by customer name, why not? Last item is not empty, so that means it returns a value. I want the background color to be red, so I want it to be blocked. And you know what? I think that's it. That's what we need right now. So let's go to our preview. I should, on page load, set this so that it's got a date associated with it. And let's see if that picks anything up. Nope, not there. But I think I set that to Friday. Oh, and there it is. So we've got table 3 at 11:30. We've got a reservation. So let's add a couple more reservations here. So I'm going to go home. And Testy McTesterson is also going to eat at 11:30 on Friday. And Testy likes table 5. On Thursday, um, Testercles Testophilus at 11 o'clock on Thursday is going to choose table 1. So let's come back over to our dashboard. And now Wednesday's got nothing. Thursday, table 1 at 11 o'clock. We see that's booked. And on Friday, we see that there are 2 tables, at both at 11:30. So you can see how this would work. So as we go on, these will be filled. This could work for a lot of things. If you wanted to have, say, I don't know, a page versus permissions matrix, you could set that up. If you wanted to have some sort of sales page where you've got features against plan. This would also be appropriate for that, but you could see how that happens. So for the gentleman that was asking about this in the forum, I certainly hope this helps, and I will talk to everyone later.